I'm here on a job site with Tim, who owns his own electrical contracting business.
3 employees and 2 work trucks.
Tim traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance. We're positively here where he needs us most.
They sure are.
With step-by-step help on all his insurance needs, all for shockingly low rates.
Shockingly low, huh?
Just a little bit of electrician humour. Do you get it?
I got it.
You know, it feels like we have a real connection. All right, I'll stop.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, major changes are coming to a large section of the park. 2 areas of the resort are turning 25. Disney is nominated for Themed Entertainment Awards.
Sweethearts Night has some new features. We talk about the food coming to the event in SnackChat, then cover the history of the area of Disneyland known today as Bayou Country and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Oh boy, it sure is great to see you, Weekly Tears. Come on, Goofy. Gors.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of January 21st, 2026. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tig Bushman. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show, but this week we'd like to give a special shout out to Josh W. for increasing your support, and to Nicole, Richard, and Joshua C., Sarah R., and Rebecca M. for continuing your support. If you would like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, and a bunch of other perks like our book club that should be starting, I think, do we have dates for that already?
Yeah, so first book club meeting will be February 22nd. So if you're interested in book club, head on over to Discord to get the details. Otherwise, I did just put the details also in our most recent Patreon monthly update as well.
There we go. So if you want to get in on that, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Dateline DL Weekly. Fiction becomes fact as the mysterious subcontinent reveals a legendary podcast. After 2,000 years, 2 hosts have been unearthed by famed archaeologist Dr. Henry Indiana Jones. Scholarly research laid the groundwork for Jones's discovery. Thus, the jungles of DL Weekly become the destination for listeners worldwide. And what a destination it is! Until next week, this is Eye on Breaking News.
Not too far in the future, in a land very close to home, some changes are coming. Beginning April 29th, more Star Wars eras are coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Darth Vader, Leia Organa, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker will arrive on Batuu. The Galactic Civil War and New Republic, as well as the Age of the Resistance and the First Order, will all be represented. The original trilogy characters will be mainly around the Spires and the Millennium Falcon, while the forested area near Star Wars Rise of the Resistance will be the Age of the Resistance. Throughout the land, music from John Williams' musical score will be heard. The Cantina Band tune will emanate from Oga's Cantina. The First Order cargo will also transition to the Black Spire Surplus. So that's one of the shops. And then Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities will have more one-of-a-kind items, and the Droid Depot will be operated by an earlier generation of the Mubo family. Shadows of a Memory, A Skywalker Saga, and Fire of the Rising Moons will continue.
This will be a day long remembered, as they say in Star Wars. People have been asking for this for a really, really long time. One interesting tidbit that I did not put in the read there, but I did read about later, is Kylo Ren will actually be swapping with Darth Vader to be at the Visa photo op that's in Tomorrowland instead. So he's going away for now, but will be around still. But this is a great change for a lot of Star Wars fans who have been wanting to have the original trilogy characters that they grew up with here and in this area, and not just the newer prequel trilogy stuff. So I think it's a great move forward for this area, and I'm glad that they finally decided to let it happen. The other weird thing is this is just coming to Disneyland's version of Galaxy's Edge, where Galaxy's Edge over in Walt Disney World in Hollywood Studios is going to keep with the previous timeline and ways in which that they limit this to only the prequel characters.
Yeah, so we talked about this on our live stream this weekend. Overall, I think this is great. And like you just said, it's something a lot of people have been wanting. Really, James would be a good person to ask about this because he's probably the most Star Wars of all of us. But I just really can't think of how many people are going to be upset by this.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to upset anybody. I think it's long overdue. Actually, if you want to talk about who it'll probably upset, Disney World fans who also want this, but they don't have.
But in Disney World, remember, you've got Star Tours is like basically next door.
That's true.
So they already have a lot of the representation kind of in one spot, whereas Disneyland was a bit disjointed. I just think of things like, remember the first time was it the first time we went? I just remember going to a store and somebody asked a question. And it was like they were trying to answer as a citizen of Batu to tell you to go to Tomorrowland to get what it was.
Looking for the Sabak game for James.
Yes. So or was it the Porg? There was something.
Well, it might have been that too for Fern. Yeah.
There was something. I just remember like the awkwardness of them trying to explain. Well, I heard there's like not being able to just give an answer. Obviously, that has changed. That's loosened up. But like that's how tight they used to be. So I think this is great. And honestly, the area's way big enough. Why not have it sectioned off to represent different things? You're still not going to have like Kylo Ren mingling with Vader, which obviously that wouldn't happen. But I think it's great.
Yeah, I think people will be very happy. I think that they will execute this well because Disney always does a good job executing this type of stuff. It's just as easy as don't schedule multiple eras of people at the same time to be out in the land, and no problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, question for you, if we want to kind of like, I don't know, spitball on this. So Oga's is going to be going down for a refurbishment, and it's kind of one of those, like, it was only going to be a short, like, this long, but they actually don't have a return date now on the calendar kind of a thing. Do you think this is just a general rehab refurb type thing for the space? Or since they announced that there's going to be these changes being made, do we think there's extra magic up the Imagineer sleeve?
That's a good question. I think there's a couple possibilities. One, they just refurbish the area and it is what it is and everything is the same. It's just they do paint and polish and refresh. That's like, probably what will happen. The next level is they did say that this is taking Batu and the whole land back in time a little bit. So the timeline, according to the Disney Parks blog post, is that this will be like Oga just opened the cantina. So maybe like they'll like freshen it up a bit so it seems more like what like a brand new opened cantina would be like instead of like maybe as rough as it is now.
Not as lived in.
Or you could go crazy, which I don't think they'll do, is they could put the Cantina band in there, which I think would be super cool. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because a couple reasons. One, I think for it to work the best, I think you would have to have it be cast members. Like, I don't think animatronics would be as good, or it'd be hard because then, like, when they're broken or whatever, like, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
Or the other thing is people kind of like DJ Rex. So, like...
Kind of. He's great.
But that's what I mean. Like, would you get... Because you wouldn't have both necessarily.
I would... So, if it were me, both would exist.
Now, something that would be even cooler that they're definitely not doing is it'd be cool if they expanded the cantina to maybe include, like, a second room that maybe would have, like, the Cantina band. But there's always such a line there, like... They could make it bigger, and not kick people out after a short amount of time and all of that stuff. But yeah, so the other good news, Ronto wraps are not going away. I don't think your cold brew is going away.
The Black Calf cold brew. Yeah, it sounds like all the food items are here to stay.
Yeah.
If anything, maybe this gives us a little bit more flexibility, freedom, and creativity to bring other delicacies from the galaxy to Batu.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I feel like we've broken the seal now, and who knows what's going to come out. Yeah.
Anything can happen at this point.
Well, hard to believe, but Downtown Disney turns 25 this year. The shopping and dining district opened on January 12th, 2001. To honor the event, a new retro-style logo was unveiled on the ground behind the Downtown Disney stage. There is also a pin to commemorate the event that you can pick up.
This is like one of those, tell me you're a Disney nerd without telling me that you are a Disney nerd, because why am I so excited that there's a pin to commemorate this?
Sure.
Can you think, I'm sure that pin collectors out there will let me know, but off the top of my head and off the top of your head, can you think of another time that we've had a Downtown Disney specific pin to celebrate something?
No. I mean, I feel like Downtown Disney is the one part of the resort that doesn't get a lot of love.
Yeah, so
I feel like it's the hotels, it's the parks, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know
It's
why,
right under
but
that.
I think this is
Just scroll
exciting. They also revealed what like the quote unquote new Downtown Disney District logo is, with a painted version of it on the ground over in the new section of Downtown Disney. So that's back like by where Earl of Sandwich and where Din Tai Fung, that section of Downtown Disney. We were discussing this before the show. We can't. So it is painted on the ground. It's not like a chalk artwork thing. I can't decide though if I think it's permanent or if it's just a temporary thing for celebrating the 25th anniversary.
Like when they've done the chalk things, but this time in paint.
Yeah, so you can you don't have to have the area cordoned off, and we don't have to worry about moisture, rain, that sort of thing. So I'm curious to see if there's anything else going on with that, because it also, in the photo that SnackChat shares, doesn't appear like it's 100% finished either. I feel like there's a lot of open blank canvas, if you will, in this blue area that they could do a little filling in with stuff. But I do like the throwback. They have had the new Downtown Disney District logo appearing in other parts on different things in that section of the park. I do like it. I think it's a fun throwback to the original, like the Disneyland sign that we've all come to love. Also,
that mid-century modern.
Yeah, and like the Disneyland Hotel had that same style with like the different letters in the blocks and the colors, and yeah. Anyways, so
I like it. Like I like the rebrand more than like the kind of the original version, which was kind of just like the Disney font, like the swoopiness. I will always be a fan of the Disneyland D, like that font. And especially the D letter being used places. So kind of exciting. I'm the next step, of course, is they've done that side of the shopping district to look like this new way. Is that going to start like making its way through the rest of Downtown Disney? Is it going to start looking all mid-century modern with these bright colors and stuff? I guess we'll wait and find out.
That's a good question. Well, Magic Key sales have resumed as of January 13th, including the new Explore Key. Magic Key sales may pause overnight starting at 10 p.m. Disneyland time to 9 a.m. the following morning, so just be aware. Some of the new perks with having a Magic Key include a refillable popcorn bucket for $15.25 with $2.25 refills through February 24th. There's also a Disney California Adventure Park 25th anniversary bucket and the Disneyland 70th bucket, special for Magic Key holders that you can then use for this refillable popcorn perk. For Lunar New Year, there is a special Magic Key lanyard, a semi-secluded dining area, and photo op area, plus Magic Key merchandise, of course. A Year of the Horse button is also available.
Yeah, so we're, everything's back. Of course, you can kind of pick your level from all the way up at $1,899 per year for the Inspire Key, all the way down to the Southern California resident, $599 per year Imagine Key, with a $999 Explorer, that new one Teresa talked about, and the Believe Key at $1,474 per year as well. If you are in California, any of those you can put on a monthly payment plan after a $99 initial payment. All types of options for that. I was just on here right now, and all of them are still available as of the time of recording.
I was going to say all four. Well, we can't see the Southern California.
They are huge, though, saying, check the calendar before purchasing, because I had to go through a couple things. I went under Magic Key, and I clicked Now on Sale on their little menu, and then I scrolled down, and I was like, I want to purchase passes, and then it took me to important details about reservations and everything, and then finally I could do purchase now. So I think this was from that lawsuit we talked about, that they really want to make sure that people understand what they're signing up for.
This is the first time in what feels like forever, all four keys have been on sale like at the same time.
Sure, yeah.
Because it seemed like they were kind of doing, you could do the top two or the bottom two, but never all four available. I have a funny story to share that I hadn't even told you yet. So I was having to do some concierge planning things that required me to call Disneyland, and the wait times were astronomical. And then we realized it was the day that the keys had gone on sale. And so our suspicion was that folks that had the Enchant Key that is no longer were trying to call to upgrade to the Explore Key and see what their options were, because that Explore Key does unlock a lot of summer dates that the Enchant Key did not have previously. So definitely in your benefit to do that. It was like what when we first reported, it was like, I don't know, $25,
It's like a
$50.
$20 difference. Yeah, it wasn't very much.
Yeah, for the cost of a key, it wasn't that big of an increase. So yeah, so that was pretty wild so that was poor timing on my part, but that's one of the fun things about doing the travel planning gig is I get to be the one on hold.
Did you find that out by like when you got through to someone? You're like, how come the hold times are so long? Or did you?
No,
just know?
our group concierge chat were chit chatting about it, and someone pointed out. I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Didn't even consider that.
Yeah, because I totally would have been one of those people that was like, "How come the wait times are so long right now?"
See, I have this thing that anytime that I've called and it's been some crazy long wait, I do the same thing when we're in the parks and it's like a character meet and greet or something. Because we've had to wait so long, I have this weird guilt to that I don't want to take up too much time. And like in this case, I just feel for the cast members because I'm like, holy buckets. So like in this case, I was on hold for, it was 45 minutes, maybe it was an hour, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Thankfully, they have lovely Disney music that you can listen to while you're on hold.
But if they ever put you back on hold, it starts over again.
Yeah, but it was a solid, they didn't loop me. But so yeah, so it was one of those like, oh no, I don't even want to know what your day is. I'm going to try and make this as quick and easy for you as I possibly can. Thank you. Have a good day. All 5s on your survey.
I will tell you from somebody who worked in a call center, I assume, knowing you, that you are very pleasant on the phone. I would much rather stay on the phone with you,
I suppose,
than pump through like 10 more people that might be crabby. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're into that, go get a magic key.
Or go use some of your perks.
Exactly. Well, IAPA, or the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, has announced their finalists for the 2025 Brass Ring Excellence Awards. These are the most prestigious honors in the global attractions industry. Disney has been nominated in the Most Creative Halloween Production for Tokyo Disney Resort, the Villains Halloween Into the Frenzy Parade. For Most Creative Theatrical Production, year-round operation for Disney Cruise Line on the Disney Treasure, Disney The Tale of Moana. For Best Sustainability Program for Disney's Consumer Products Disney Figurine Set Sustainable Packaging Program, and totally tied up with all 3 nominations for the Most Creative Spectacle category for World of Color Happiness at Disneyland, Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, and Disney Tales of Magic at Disneyland Paris.
This was so cool to like look through. If you have a moment, link of course is in the show notes, but Laughing Place like lined up all of the different things that you could be nominated for and who all of the top 3 nominees were for each of the different categories. So as cool as it is, and yay Disney that we have quite a few nominations, it was really interesting to like scroll through and see what other companies, what other parks, and what other parts of the world were also being recognized for their different things. I mean, we've got everything from like the best health and wellness program to the best new food and beverage special event or festival, best new menu item. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. It's not just like the big stuff like, oh, we forgot, best custom retail souvenir. The Disneyland Key to Disneyland was nominated. Yeah. So
I don't know how I missed that one.
Well, some of these were highlighted in blue and some of them are bolded in black. So I get it. But so there's all sorts of different things that you could be nominated for. So I was, again, yes, this is a Disney podcast. We love Disney, but I just found it very interesting, especially with like all the different things that Universal is doing and different stuff to see like how other people were being like recognized and like, you know, what cool things other people are doing as well.
I was just trying to figure out what this t-shirt was. Sorry, like some of these things like I don't understand. So best custom retail souvenir, the other 2 in that category other than the Key to Disneyland was Vancouver Aquarium has a rescue otter plush, and then at Beach Park in Park Arvarar, there's an Arvarar Magic t-shirt. And I'm like, what is the Arvarar Magic t-shirt? I just feel like I need to see what this looks like. Huh. Well, they don't do a very good marketing their stuff, apparently, because I can't find it. But
they weren't in the most creative integrated marketing campaign or the most creative digital. No, I'm just kidding. Which are both. I didn't just make that up. Those are also different things one could be nominated in for this. So
now, have you seen these 3 things in the creative spectacle? Have you seen videos or anything online of these? Well, I know you've seen World of Color Happiness.
I've seen World of Color Happiness in person. The Disneyland. So if I were to be the judge, as much as we love Disneyland, I feel that Disneyland Paris, Disney Tales of Magic probably wins it because that's their nighttime spectacular.
That does everything.
Yeah, Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away looks gorgeous. Again, it's another kind of like updated version of what the Main Street Electrical Parade was. So, right, Disneyland got Paint the Night, and this is kind of what Walt Disney World got. Also looks very beautiful. I've heard kind of mixed opinions from folks. Again, I have not seen it myself in person, but they felt like it felt like it ended kind of abruptly for some folks. But I don't think I don't know. It'd be interesting to know how they grade these things. Like, are they just looking at like the technicality or like the overall story or like how is it that they pick these things, you know?
Yeah. Well, Disneyland Paris is what is awesome because it's like got drones and fireworks and projections and water fountains and everything else. Mm-hmm. And then the parade is pretty cool, but like Teresa was saying, some of the online reaction has been that like it's just not very long, and there's not a lot of like characters. Like there's floats, but there's not a lot. It's not like the electrical parade that has like a lot of like moving performers. So, but I still want to see it.
And then for me personally, I thought it was. I'm happy. I am very happy that World of Color Happiness is on there. But for like personally, that's not my favorite version of World of Color Happiness. So again, I would love to know like how they score and grade these things to get what they get on the list, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So but yay Disney. I think that's pretty amazing that they kind of had a sweep in most creative spectacle.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very
It feels very Disney.
Yeah, that feels like a very Disney one to have so many nominations for.
Also glad to see that the Tale of Moana from Disney Cruise Line got on there because I've seen so many good things from that.
So I got to see that one when we did the Treasure Preview cruise, of course, and that one phenomenal. But we've heard from Lindsay that Hercules was also very, very good.
So they're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, but see, and then it makes me sad because then I think of places like Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, where we have two theaters that, well, one of them's getting bluey, but we have a big, beautiful theater that's sitting empty. And I'm like, why? We have such amazing shows that they've created for the cruise lines. Please just bring one of those to the parks because I think they'd be an instant hit. Disneyland After Dark Sweethearts Night is about to start for the 2026 season, and there are some additions this year. The Celebrate Love Cavalcade features characters honoring all loved ones, from best friends and family to soulmates. A romantic show, Once Upon a Dream, a musical journey through the Disney songbook, explores love and romance, featuring live singers and Disney royalty with a grand ball under the stars.
So I like the fact that even though Sweethearts Night has happened, are we on 3 or 4 years now, that they're still like plussing it in a way. Yes. It is one of the popular ones. Of course, the Pride Night had a cavalcade, so that's cool for them to add a cavalcade here. Obviously, Pride Night that we also really enjoyed also had like a lot of singing and performance stuff, so they're bringing some of that. So I think this is good. This is good progression of a popular evening.
Yeah. So I remember that there was some sort of ball that they had before, but I think it's really, really cool that it sounds like it's going to be live musical performances and not just like the experience of having a grand ball. So I'm excited. I think the first Sweethearts Nights are kicking off very, very soon. So I'm excited to see people's videos and such to let us know what these new events all entail.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, like I said, adding a little bit of pluses here and there, not keeping it'll make it repeatable because a lot of people enjoy the night anyway, and now you have something new to go see if you want to experience that. Also, like, it's around Valentine's, so if you got a little special someone, what a great way to spend it than at Disneyland with some new cool stuff, especially if that's something you're both interested in.
I am Groot.
What do you mean you're hungry? Kraglin needs those pots for the rehydrator. We don't have time for snacks.
I am Groot.
Were you talking to Tag and Teresa again? How'd they even get a hold of you?
I am Groot.
Fine. One snack. That's it.
I am Groot.
No, I haven't seen any churros. You gotta talk to Vern. And stop smiling.
Well, this week for Snack Chat, we are delving into the list of food that has been announced for Sweethearts Night, which we talked about in the news is coming up here soon. They didn't have a Disney Parks blog post or anything like that. It's not like an official foodie guide, but they did post it on the Disney Eats Instagram account. So what fun deliciousness do we have here?
So some of the things we won't cover because we did already talk about them maybe it was last week already. Last week's SnackChat that talked about the different dining packages and offerings that were coming. But the good thing about this is now we have photos of some of those delicious items. So we'll start off. There's a pretty good mix of sweet and savory. This one we did talk about last week, but I wanted to mention it because we were not understanding what it was because it was just called Cupid's Pillow. And we're like, what is that? Well, now we have a photo. I'm still not 100% sure what Cupid's Pillow is, but it looks beautiful. It's like a pillowy looking dessert that's topped with like a cream, but there's fresh fruit. There's a strawberry drizzle. I'm trying to figure out what this heart-shaped piece is.
I think it's just like a truffle chocolate or something.
Sure, yeah.
Again, one of these things that they aren't really giving a lot of explanation. They just say Cupid's Pillow at Blue Bayou Restaurant. Yeah. I feel like this pillow on first glance looks just like a beignet.
It does, but look at like the indent of like the weight, if you will, from the cream and like the chocolate key and lock. Like it's indented into the pillow. So it looks like it's very, soft and pillowy. But yeah, very interesting there. So moving on, Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree has honeymoon funnel cake fries. These look like they're topped with some fresh strawberry. There looks like maybe shaved coconut, maybe like a matcha drizzle sauce on
something
there.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah. At Rancho del Zocalo, they have the loaded nachos locos, which look like, are these like Doritos? They look like Doritos.
They do. They look like they're Dorito chips.
Yeah. With, wow, there's a lot going on here. There's like some jalapenos. Mm-hmm. What is this like crunchy?
I'm wondering if it's
thing?
black beans.
Oh, okay. Black beans, some tomatoes, also a drizzle of some sort. It looks pretty good.
We've got some chocolate heart-shaped beignets with strawberry dipping sauce. Of course, you can find those over at the Mint Julep Bar and also Tiana's Palace.
I like the fact that these are shaped like hearts. Something a little bit different. Here you go, Teresa. The cold brew martini at Carnation Cafe. Looks pretty much like what it sounds like. It's in a martini-like glass with a cold brew with some, are those like coffee beans?
There are some coffee beans floating on the top there, yeah. Over at the Red Rose Tavern and also Galactic Grill, you can pick up some surf and turf loaded fries. So fries, obviously, as the base. The surf and turf appears to be shrimp with like a pulled beef of some sort. And then there's like radishes on top. Looks like maybe some peppers and onions, cilantro, and then some sort of like green
like
sauce.
Like an avocado crema or something.
Oh, and it looks like there's maybe a sour cream drizzle, or maybe it's a cheese drizzle, too.
I did not see the shrimp, so when you were saying shrimp, I'm like, where is it? Well, the shrimp is similar in color to the fries, so it's hard to kind of see. There is also, at the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe, they have a berry panna cotta, which this looks beautiful. It's got like some strawberries, some whipped cream. It's got like a nice little chocolate Mickey with a little heart inside of it in a nice little glass there.
Also at the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe and can be found at Harbor Galley, there is a new strawberry mocha cold brew. So, 100%.
Those look like freeze-dried strawberries.
They do. This sounds great. Good way. I mean, delicious. Mocha, strawberry. So basically, it's a chocolate-covered strawberry caffeinated beverage.
Oh.
So great way to recaffeinate yourself halfway through Sweethearts Night.
Right. Cafe Daisy has a heart-shaped ravioli with like a side of a marinara sauce. This looks really good, actually. This reminds me of like when you go to like Olive Garden and they have like the fried ravioli. It looks really good.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. Like it seems simple, but it looks really, really good.
Is this... Are you going to talk? Is this one of the things we're not going to talk about?
Well, okay. So we'll mention it. I'm not 100% sure what we're looking at here. So it's called a perfect pairing combo, and you can find it at the Plaza Inn. This is interesting. It says that it's hosted by Disney Plus and Hulu, so I'm assuming there might be some extra theming or something going on there. It looks... Is it a chicken parmesan and fried chicken? Is that what this maybe is? Because there's definitely fried chicken on the plate. It looks like there's a marinara sauce. I do not see like a bed of noodles or spaghetti at all. But it looks kind of like a chicken parm. But there's mashed potatoes.
I also thought, is that mashed potatoes?
I think so.
Maybe that's mashed potatoes. Because what I was originally thinking, and again, it's hard to tell because they don't tell you, and this picture's kind of misleading or not very descriptive maybe, is to me it looked like fried chicken with marinara on it, so like a chicken parm look.
Yeah.
And then like, I think you're right now that I look at this, that is mashed potatoes. But my first thought was like, is that like a piece of lasagna?
Oh.
And then of course they have like the nice dessert.
I was gonna say, I bet because at first when it said perfect pairing, I was thinking the perfect pairing was on that main plate, but I bet it's because it's like dinner and dessert, and that's the perfect pairing.
Sure.
And then last but not least, we did talk about these last week, the duo of hearts over at River Belle Terrace, but this, I just can't get over how stinking cute these are, because it's two little, like, I don't know, cakes, I guess would be what I'd call them, but heart-shaped, and one is decorated like Mickey, and the other is decorated like Minnie, so it's just very cute. Oh, wait.
Herb-roasted chicken with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, so we found it at allears.net. Somehow they have the in, but yeah. Deep fried cheese ravioli is what the heart-shaped ravioli is. The surf and turf loaded fries, it's seared steak with shrimp, bell peppers, onions. Hey, we did pretty good there. Garnished with good job crema, avocado, a tomatillo sauce, cilantro, and a lime wedge.
We're pretty good at this without having all the info.
We did pretty all right.
Yeah, so your strawberry mocha cold brew is Joffrey's French roast cold brew with rich chocolate sauce topped with smooth strawberry cold foam and a freeze-dried strawberries.
We did not have a picture of this, but there's also passion fruit strawberry lemonade at the Red Rose Tavern, which is, of course, a blend of, you guessed it, passion fruit, strawberry, and lemon.
New York steak and crab cake at River Belle Terrace, served with herb mashed potatoes, roasted tomato and spinach, and a mushroom demi-glaze.
Ooh, there's also, this is new, a croque monsieur at Jolly Holiday Bakery and Cafe, which is ham, gruyere, raspberry Dijon, and a bechamel sauce on sourdough with some fresh-made chips.
This combo at Plaza sounds good, or roasted chicken with mashed potatoes, because they put a marinara sauce
that
with
is,
like stuff.
I would not have, obviously, you heard us try and guess in real time, and we definitely did not guess correct.
The panna cotta was a vanilla bean panna cotta layered with strawberry gel and mixed berries.
The chocolate heart-shaped beignets, we were spot on with that. But that Cupid's pillow, I'm glad we have a description of what that is. It's raspberry mousse, white chocolate crunch, and a brownie filling with raspberry sauce.
Okay, now I want to go back and look at this photo.
Now that makes sense why the mousse is like just like encasing, I guess.
Okay.
And that little heart must be the brownie?
It's got to be.
I don't know.
And then the duo of hearts is the dessert.
Yes.
And it's one with dark chocolate mousse, a berry compote filling at a shortbread cookie base, and one with a white chocolate mousse, mango passion fruit filling, and a shortbread cookie base served with fresh berries. Well, thank you, Allears.net.
Yeah,
I'll put
shout
this
out
link
to
in the show
Allears
notes
for having the actual descriptions of what it was we were looking at, because
I always find it annoying when they post stuff on Instagram and they don't give like a good indication. Like, yeah, it looks good, but tell me what it is. But yeah, so
we didn't do too bad though.
We are pretty good with this. We've been building up our skills through SnackChat.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, it is that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello, everyone. This is Eric Johnson with Concierge, and welcome to the D180. While Teg and Teresa cover all things Disneyland, in the D180 we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. We begin our tour this week in Port Canaveral, where the Disney Adventure dropped in for a quick visit. The Adventure has its maiden voyage set for March of this year, and it seems like it's pretty much ready to go. Dining is always a spotlight on Disney cruises, and the Adventure is no exception. The Navigators Club is nautical in nature and features plenty of fishy dishes for your enjoyment. Voyagers can also meet up with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy after they perform a few numbers for you. The Animator's Palette is favorite amongst cruisers, and it returns aboard the Adventure. The decor in this restaurant changes through your meal, morphing from sketches to full color as you dine. The menu is a bit different from the other ships, with some savory new dishes and some incredible-looking desserts. Maybe I shouldn't write about food while I'm waiting to pick up dinner, because I am salivating right now. Have I mentioned that on the deck of the Adventure, you can encounter Cinderella Castle itself? Not just a run-of-the-mill painting or mural, there's a 3-story model installed in what they are calling the Disney Imagination Garden. No other cruise ship has an art installation quite like this one. You have to see it to believe it. Cinderella Castle is made up in an almost pop-up book style, designed to look like it sprang from an actual storybook. It's really impressive, and at that scale, this is the sort of thing that you really do have to see to believe. There are so many other elements waiting to greet guests on this maiden voyage from Singapore. The Disney adventure is truly a new endeavor, making its port in Thailand instead of an American port. I'm looking forward to some of the excellent adventures from a foreign port to even more exotic destinations. The Disney adventure is almost ready to set sail. Once again, that maiden voyage is in March of this year. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you would like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both the DLWeekly and Concierge. Then reach out to your personal travel planner, Teresa. She looks forward to planning something special for you and yours. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Thanks, Eric.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers for...
Hello there, you found your way to Trivia Land again.
I heard that it's going to be quite the ride tonight.
I think it might be a little rough. Like tag riding Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout rough.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
But I could be wrong.
Can I just leave now?
Nope, you're already strapped in.
Oh, geez.
The music has started.
Oh, no.
And it's going to happen.
It's too late now. You've already buckled in.
Yep. I think
There's
this is what happens.
going back now.
This is what happens when you have me on the show 3 weeks in a row. So... But,
always a dangerous idea.
It is. But trivia is always a good idea. So let's get to our first question.
Okay.
We're getting the end of the holiday overlay on It's a Small World. What year did this overlay make its debut in Disneyland?
1997.
I was going to say 2001 was Haunted Mansion Holiday. Was it before? Okay, I'll go with 97. You seem confident.
I'm pretty confident. I don't know why, but for some reason, when I think of It's a Small World and Christmas, I think 1997.
Teresa will hitch her boat to that attraction. Excellent. My next question for you is, how tall does the partner statue stand?
Oh.
Ooh,
Didn't we learn this
like,
at the...
like if you're standing next to him or like on the pedestal?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Good clarifying question.
I will have to verify that one.
So I'll give you a hint, James, if this helps you at all. So when we stood next to the one that's at the studios...
We could put our hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, so he wasn't much taller than us. So probably 7 feet maybe tall.
I was going to say, I think it's without the pedestal.
Okay.
Without the pedestal.
I do have a hint for this one if you need it.
Oh, sure.
But I'll let you flesh out your own ideas.
Oh,
first.
sure.
So
I think somewhere between 7 and 8 feet tall. So I'll say 7'2".
Oh, see, I was thinking more 6. Because I'm trying to think when I was standing.
I'm 5'10".
No, I know. I'm trying to think when I was standing there, how high was his shoulder?
James, is it a cheat to pull up a picture of us standing next to him?
I think that would be cheating.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where Mickey was, and Mickey I could set my hand on. So Mickey was probably my hip.
Okay.
And on Walt, he's not hip. That's
He's not hip.
Yeah, not hip height. I'm gonna say
You heard it here first, folks.
Not
I'm
hip.
gonna say 6'5". And you said what?
I said 7'2".
7'2".
All right. My hint for you on this one, if you want to change your answers, is the height of the statue is 7 inches taller than Walt's actual height, according to the Wikipedia article.
Oh, well, then I'm too tall probably, because I don't think he's that tall. 6'6". 6'6". That's what I'll go with.
I'm just gonna stick with it. I don't know.
Very good.
I don't know how tall Walt was.
Well, see, bonus trivia answers tonight.
Yeah.
We love it. All right, let's move on to my third question. And I was laughing writing this question because it might be the most pedantic question I have ever asked.
This is the one. Okay, so while I was writing the script today, James was sitting across the table from me going through trivia for tonight. And he made some comment about being pedantic about something. And I said, well, what was it? He said, I can't tell you. So I'm glad that he put this one in tonight so I could not be thinking about it until it does get asked.
How many apostrophes are in the proper stylized version of Chip and Dale's Gadget Go Coaster?
Gadget Coaster?
Yes. Gadget Coaster. I can read my own writing.
3.
I'm writing it out. Chip and Dale's
Gadget Coaster. Unless there's like a weird one for like gadget that's like GA''GT, but I don't think there is.
I never thought I'd be asking a question about apostrophes, so I'm kind of loving this.
So I think,
okay, so you said Chip and Dale's Gadgets Go Coaster.
No, Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster. That's the current name of it.
Then there's only 2.
3, because isn't there one apostrophe on either side of the N, and then the apostrophe between Dale?
Like how they have it on there? I think there's 2.
Okay, I'm going to say 3. One of us is probably right.
Or maybe it's 4. Who knows? I do.
You see what he does? You see what he does?
Yeah. All right.
I have to live with this.
You choose to live with this.
I was going to say that was a choice.
I'm stuck with it now.
All right. Final question for the week. You're aware of the windows on Main Street, but thanks to my time on the Hub Crawl's companion podcast this week, shout out Second Story Stories, I ended up on the Wikipedia page for the windows. Did you know there are 4 windows in places that aren't Main Street throughout the park? I hope you do, because I want to know about them.
So there's one in Adventureland for Harper Goff.
Yep. There's one in Frontierland.
Yeah, hang on. I got to write these down. Okay, so Adventureland.
You want to know what specifically?
There's 4 windows that aren't on Main Street.
Do you want to know who they are or just where they are?
I want to know everything you can tell me about them.
Oh, see, that's funny.
What'd you say? Frontierland?
Frontierland. Is that?
There. That one's for the... I don't know the guy's name. He played Davy Crockett.
Oh, it's Fess Parker.
Do we count the, fictitious window for... Tony Baxter in the what is that called? The Rainbow Ridge set.
James, do you want real or also fake?
I think these are all real windows.
Okay.
So no, we won't count that one. I don't know.
I don't think there's any in Fantasyland.
Mm-mm.
I don't think there's any in Tomorrowland.
Maybe there's one in Toontown, but I feel like all the ones in Toontown are.
Are you talking about just Disneyland Park?
Just Disneyland Park.
Okay, because I was because there's some over in California Adventure too.
Just Disneyland Park.
I don't think there's any in Toontown that are real.
I don't think there's any real ones there either.
I think that's good. Now, Main
4.
Street, are you counting?
They are distinctly off of Main Street and the Hub. They are distinctly in other lands.
Okay, because there was that one that got done that was for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but that wasn't on Main Street necessarily.
Yep. That one I counted as Main Street.
Okay.
I had that thought too, though. So
okay. New Orleans Square maybe has something.
Yeah.
Because there's windows there.
There's windows there.
There are windows.
I mean, you've got the iron initials for Walton or Roy, but that's not a window.
Yep. We have 2 right now.
We have 2.
You don't know if they're right. We don't know if they're right, but we have 2.
Now I feel ridiculous since we just spent so much time in the discussion topic talking about. There's not Critter Country, Bear Country, Bayou Country, because they've got the facade. There's windows.
There could be one.
I don't know.
Could be.
But who would have a window?
I don't know. Anyone, Tay. Anyone. It could be anyone.
I feel like if there was one, it would be one that somebody made specific large contributions to that specific area.
Yeah. Is there something on the train? No, I don't think there's anything on the train station in New Orleans Square.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think there's just the opening day.
Yeah. The
Morse code.
Okay, that I don't know. I think
we're tapping out at 2.
Trying.
A solid 2 on the list. Whether they're actually 2 or you've made them up, well, we got a bit of time to talk about it and keep racking your brains to see if you come up with any more.
Wonderful.
First, discussion topic for you, though.
Well, for this week, our discussion, we are going to take a look back at the history of Bayou Country. So as we know it today, it's Bayou Country, but maybe you knew it was Critter Country before. But before that, did you know it was Bear Country? And even before that, did you know that it was home of the Indian Village? So it's one of those areas that
Identity crisis.
Kind of forget has such a long history and has been at the park for as long as it has, because for some reason in my brain it just kind of popped up on the map like more recently, I guess would be a good way of saying it. But we're going to start at the beginning, back when it was the Indian Village.
Yeah, so way back with the opening of the park in July of 1955, and this lasted all the way till October of 1971, there was the Indian Village that was near, at the time, the Chicken Plantation restaurant that was at the western edge of Frontierland, so kind of back in the day. Also, in the article we have linked from Yesterland, they talked about how, Walt spent like $100,000 on this section or something.
Yeah.
And they ended up having it for so long, and some of the things are still there today, just under different names, like the back in the day. So trigger warning maybe for some folks. We're going to use some what is now culturally insensitive terminology, if you're just to be aware of that. The Indian War canoes, which are now the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes, is still there all of these years later.
So this is, okay, so according to a May 13th, 1956 article in the Los Angeles Times, the quote-unquote completely new Indian Village in Frontierland cost $100,000 and was part of Disneyland's $2 million expansion program in 1956, which also included fun things like the Skyway, the Rainbow Caverns Mine Ride, Storybook Land, and Tom Sawyer Island. So basically, like, this area first appeared on a park map the year after Disneyland opened, which blows my mind because, again, for some reason in my assumption of the timeline of things, it
was there from the beginning.
No, not there from the beginning. That it was like I forget that it roots all the way back to the Indian Village.
Oh, sure.
Like I know that the Indian Village exists, but for some reason my brain does not connect it to being, in the same area that is now Bayou Country.
Oh, yeah, sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because we now think of it on like the rivers. I think of it as Rivers America, like where the teepees are now. One of the neat things about this space that actually was kind of, I don't know, you could almost say progressive for the time, at least partially, was that in the Indian Village, American Indians actually were to demonstrate their customs and performing genuine ceremonial dances like the eagle and the mountain spirit. So this was like an authentic experience that guests could go and like learn a little bit about the culture and some of the things that they did as American Indians.
The other thing that's kind of interesting, too, is aside from some enhancements in 1962, the Indian Village did not change very much over the course of its 16 years that it was back there. But, like, when it expanded, my brain just kind of, like, is still having a hard time wrapping around this. But in the same vein of what Teg was talking about, you could see different things like weaving demonstration. It sounds like it was a much more, like a living museum feel than maybe a theme park, amusement park feel that area definitely is today. Because now we've got thrill attractions and dark rides and food and all sorts of stuff. Not to say that there weren't food at that point too, but they had like displays of different teepees, and you could also like kind of peek inside, but you couldn't really go in the teepees.
Right.
But again, more like it was a more of an educational feel than just what
like an attraction or
like an
whatever.
attraction would be.
So even though this area ended in October 1971, the Disneyland 1985 hardcover souvenir book notes that the authentic dances from such tribes as the Apache, Navajo, Comanche, and Pawnee were, quote, performed with the permission of the respective tribal councils and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs. So sanctioned all of these cool things, which I feel like I don't know that much about this. Some of the things that are a little bit more controversial today is they use terms like full-blooded Indians, which is definitely not good today, and tribal dances. But I still think there's some good stuff to cover. The fact that they could share their authentic stuff, and it wasn't like, because you think back to the 50s, I feel like a lot of, not just Disney, but everybody kind of had like, cowboys and Indians, and they kind of had like there was kind of like a caricature of what Indians were.
Sure.
And so, or, as we would call them today, like First Nations people, there was kind of this caricature of them. And I'm glad that Disney kind of didn't fall into that, at least completely.
Yeah. It also kind of talks about, again, we'll have the links shared. This is yesterland.com, and then Tag also has our Disneyland encyclopedia out. But yeah, so they kind of just talk about like by what the norms of the mid 20th century were, the Indian village was, authentic and respectful. Interpretive signs described how parts of the village that they were representing, different nations and how they would use them. It also talked about how they had folks that were cast members that were Native Americans that were actually encouraged to share, their cultures and their stories with park guests. And so it was kind of more of a, I don't know, like a living museum is kind of what sounds like they were trying to do. We're not saying they did it like 100% perfect or anything like that, but it's just interesting that that's what they were trying to do. Disneyland even had his name, his like cast member stage name was Chief Whitehorse, but his actual name was Truman Washington Daly. But he was not just someone that was playing a part. He was the last fluent speaker of the Otui, which was a Missouri language, and he did much to preserve and pass along his knowledge, his history, traditions, and the language. But he's like, this man was a subject of doctoral dissertations and has a Wikipedia entry. Like, he was a very important person, and was sharing his stories and his culture with people at Disneyland for a period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just such an interesting time in the early days of Disneyland. So, of course, the Indian Village, there was some waning interest in that, and there was some labor issues and whatnot. So, in October of 1971, it was dismantled so the area could be transformed into the next incarnation, which was Bear Country. However, this is also when the northern bend of the Rivers of America got realistic props and audio animatronic figures that were there to kind of be an homage to the Indian Village. And that is still there, even though Star Wars Land construction began, and this moved to, the shaman giving stories, and there's the kid in the teepee village or whatever. So we went to Bear Country.
So this is the other thing that's wild too. Looking at the different Yesterland articles, they have, of course, photos of the different areas, and looking visually how much they changed the space is wild, because it had more like dirt paths. It was much more natural feeling, to then Bear Country has this brownish red colored pavement on the quote unquote wilderness trail, but that means you've entered the new land when you entered that kind of reddish maroon colored stuff.
I don't think you ever experienced Disneyland in this way.
I never got to experience Bear Country.
I mean in general. So back in the day,
the colors, the colored cements.
They had the colored cements before that. They were theme. Yeah, I know how much you love your theme cement now, but back at the time it was there were different colors.
Yeah.
So you go to Tomorrowland and it was blue. You go here, it's this brown. So it's kind of interesting that my very first memories of Disneyland are of the colored cement. I'm glad that we have the stuff we have now. It's much better, but it is a period of time of Disneyland for sure.
But they made this whole, I don't know, community that is Bear Country. They had a sign that looks kind of I don't know, you're entering a town or something, and it read, "Entering Bear Country, a honey of a place since 1972. Permits must be obtained for tree climbing, fishing, scratching, and hibernating. Permanent residents accepted." What?
Yep, that means except for them.
Yeah, except for them. No permit necessary for feeding the bears, and it's posted by J. Audubon Woodlore, who's the park ranger, and Ursus Americanus, naturalist.
Now, one of the cool things about Bear Country is this became the 7th major land in Disneyland in 1972, like Teresa said. This was after the Disney ski resort that they were trying to get up in Mineral King. They decided not to do that. So the show with singing audio animatronic bears would have been performed in the Mineral King buildings, but when the ski dream ended, so did the bear show, at least for 5 years. And then in 1971, the Country Bear Jamboree opened in Disney World. Then in March of 1972, the real Bear Country opened on the land, and then the Country Bears came to it. So that's pretty cool.
Is that not wild that the Country Bear Jamboree was a e-ticket attraction at one point?
I mean, it was awesome. Think about think of how cool state-of-the-art like animatronics were back in that time. So you think of things like, Rise of the Resistance today is like an e-ticket. But back in the day, like, it was that modern day, that previous day version of like what would be like a Rise of the Resistance, which is totally crazy.
Mm-hmm. The other quote-unquote attractions that were there, which again, I wouldn't have placed these as being Bear Country attractions. I would have thought these were Frontierland attractions, but the Mike Fink keelboats as well as the Davy Crocker Explorer canoes were departing from Bear Country, so they were kind of like, again, like in my brain, I would have thought Frontierland,
yeah,
but technically they're leaving from Bear Country.
So Bear Country, when it opened, only had the one significant new attraction, which was the Country Bear Jamboree, which I didn't know some of this about the Country Bear Jamboree. It was 18 audio animatronic bears that were accompanied by a variety of other audio animatronic characters. The other establishments that came with the land were Teddy Bear's Swing and Arcade, Ursus H. Bear's Wilderness Outpost, the Golden Bear Lodge, which is now the Hungry Bear Restaurant. Well, now it's the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree, and the Mile Long Bar. The two holdovers from the Indian Village were the Indian Trading Post and the Indian War Canoes, which were later renamed to David Crockett's Explorer Canoes.
This is wild. So I'm just reading through here. So you got to experience this. Was Teddy Bear's Swing and Arcade like an actual arcade? Because in here it's talking about Teddy's Arcade had some one-of-a-kind games, including I'm Gomer, Fly Me. For 25 cents, you can fly Gomer the bear in circles around a clever Pepper's Ghost partial mirror illusion environment, avoiding obstacles such as a bear trap. So it must have been an actual arcade.
I love that you think that I was around. We'll get to the history in just a minute when Splash Mountain came. My first visit was after Splash Mountain.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
But I've heard lots of things about like the Mile Long Bar.
Yeah, like it was an actual arcade and not just like some painted on the facade fictitious thing. Interesting. No beer or whiskey was at the bar, but you could get Pepsi and apple cider, or you could cool off with ice cream or a frozen banana at that Mile Long Bar.
So didn't they use, does it say in there, like, did they use, because I think they used like a mirror or something to make the bar seem so much longer.
Well, let's look at the Mile Long Bar. There was a brass foot rail and another brass rail higher up, maybe for your elbows. They're not so sure. But the bar and the brass rails look like they go on forever. Huh. Although everything gets dark in the distance now, looks the right same thing.
Okay, so debut.
Oh, it says, as you look left and right, you'll see a lot of people wearing exactly the same clothes as you. They could be your identical siblings, except every other one of them combs their hair and carries their bag on the opposite side. So yeah, it was an illusion with mirrors that just made it look like it went on and on and on and on.
You know what else was pretty cool about this bar? Was on display were the heads of Max the Deer, Melvin the Moose, and Buff the Buffalo, smaller versions of the characters that performed inside the Country Bear Jamboree.
Well, that's interesting. I'm curious what the thought process was there, because if they were, how were there two of them? Were they taking a break at the Mile Long Bar?
That's a great question. And then in 1989, when Splash Mountain came, it stayed there. It was still there. It just was, the name was changed to the Brer Bar. So now I'm curious. Now let me go look through here. God, this is dangerous to have this thing in front of me.
It was essentially the same as the Mile Long Bar.
But what replaced it?
That's now where Pooh's Corner is, and all those shops.
Oh yeah, it was swallowed up in the major remodel that created the big Pooh's Corner store. Interesting.
Yeah, Pooh's Corner is in the former Mile Long Bar. That's wild when you think of. I wish I could have experienced that.
The Mile Long Bar?
Because we know what the space of Pooh's Corner is. So to experience it as the Mile Long Bar with that illusion of the bar just going on and on and on and on and on. But now knowing what the size of the space actually was, dang, I wish I could have experienced that.
I don't know why you saying that made me think of the Jungle Cruise line. It goes on for Niles and Niles.
And Niles. Yeah.
So then on November 23rd, 1988, a new attraction was about to debut, which we knew then as Splash Mountain. And so they changed the name of the quarter of Disneyland from Bear Country to Critter Country, because obviously with Song of the South and Splash Mountain, you have a lot of other people that are not just bears.
This is interesting. I think we skipped over this.
Sure.
So Disneyland actually had 2 places called Bear Country.
What?
At least until 1977. So this,
what?
Right, this actual land opened in 1972. But there were Bear Country had already been part of the Mine Trail Through Nature's Wonderland since 1960. It was the area with bears scratching their backs on trees and then catching fish in a pond, which if you watch, you can still sometimes see those fish jumping over by the bridge that's by Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Huh.
That's wild.
Interesting. There's all this fun little like stuff that you find when you're researching this stuff. Yeah, because we have all the different critters, it became Critter Country. And in the 2000 Disneyland souvenir book, they described the animals as, here amid shady trees and cool streams is a world where the rabbits, bears, opossums, foxes, alligators, owls, and frogs are just as social and neighborly as they can be.
That's cute. I do think it's interesting that now I knew that the shift when Tiana's Bayou Adventure happened, right? I am aware that we went at that moment that happened is when we went from Critter Country to Bayou Country. I don't think I realized that Critter Country also came in when Splash Mountain came to town. So that mountain has now changed the area of
twice.
That area twice. Has changed that whole naming of the area now twice. And of course, we know a lot of stuff about Splash Mountain. We know that they used a lot of the audio-animatronics from the old America Sings attraction that had closed after a 14-year run. We know that Tony Baxter was a big part of it. And we know that Splash Mountain got its name from Splash, the mermaid Disney movie that really had nothing to do with what
Michael Eisner liked it.
Yep, but what they actually put inside of the mountain. But yes. It's just wild.
So the Ursus H. Bear's Wilderness Outpost, when it became Critter Country, became Crocodile Mercantile, as an example. So a lot of those things kind of changed. And then the Country Bear Jamboree, which played in the venue that was known as the Country Bear Playhouse, lasted until 2001, and that's when it closed, and the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh showed up. And then, of course, one of the things that the Disneyland Encyclopedia says is that no matter what animals rule this land, the lush vegetation has always made Bear Country, Critter Country, and now Bayou Country a quiet, rural contrast to its jazzy, urbane neighbor, New Orleans Square.
That is true. That is true. Something that's, to note is, a lot of people, as we're kind of just breezing through the history of this land is, why do they keep changing stuff up? Well, they didn't have too many e-ticket big thrill ride attractions, and Splash Mountain was kind of one of the first. It came after Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, but it was another, big thrill ride to add to the park to kind of revitalize different areas. And so it did just that for Bear Country. It was an instant hit, and crowds did return to what had kind of become a little bit of a forgotten corner of Disneyland. Because again, you had 2 different boat rides, the keel boats, the canoes, which the canoes, of course, lasted the whole time. The keel boats did not last that entire time. And then just the animatronic Country Bear Jamboree show. So there wasn't a ton of draw, even though that mile bar sounds like it was a pretty fun, cool illusion. There wasn't a ton of draw back there. There was a couple of shops back there too. The Teddy Bear Swingin' Arcade did survive the arrival of Critter Country, but video games replaced some of the old-fashioned, unique, one-of-a-kind machines that they had in there before. So they did a little bit of a refresh, but there still was an arcade back there, which, again, that's something new that I learned. And the Indian Trading Post, which this is interesting. It had survived the transition from the Indian Village to Bear Country, got a refresh and became the Briar Patch, which is now Ray's Berets. And it just, shifted what type of goods it sold with each shift. But that's interesting that there was still that piece of the original Indian Village was that Trading Post was still there.
If you have keen eyes, you can still see the Teddy Bear Swingin' Arcade sign is still painted on the outside of the complex at the end of Critter Country, or Bayou Country back there. So it is surrounded by some foliage a little bit, but it is still there if you look for it. So it does kind of give that nod to the arcade in the past, of course, which Disney and Imagineers like to do quite frequently. One other thing that kind of changed even before it was Bayou Country was the fact that when Galaxy's Edge was constructed, this has always been a dead end in the park. When you were going back there, that was it. You'd hit the Hungry Bear, and you'd hit, at the time, Splash Mountain, and that you'd turn around and go back. And once Galaxy's Edge was constructed, this now became like a way to get to Galaxy's Edge, and now no longer a dead end, which I think has kind of made it a kind of hopping place to be, where before it was like you kind of really wanted to go back there because you'd have to have a backtracking. So I think it's good, especially like Hungry Bear Barbecue. I think is a lot busier, I feel like, than it was prior to all of that.
It does seem like that. Yeah. No, it does. Tegan mentioned, of course, that the final performance of Country Bear Jamboree happened in 2001. And
2 days before 9/11.
Yeah. And that's when it closed permanently. But then in April 2003 is when the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh took over that space. And of course, it's still there today. But the other thing that happened with Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh coming in is that they rethemed the shops again. So Teddy Bear's Swingin' Arcade. Well, okay, we'll back up. Pooh Corner took over the Brer Bar, which we talked about, was originally the mile-long bar. Teddy Bear's Swingin' Arcade and the retail space kind of around it resulted just in this big, what it is kind of, well, no, it still transitions, but it's just a big retail space now. So it was separate things back in the day, but now it's just kind of Pooh Corner gets like the only difference there really is like, right, your sweets, and now it's Winnie the Pooh themed stuff. You've got that middle section, which still leans more Winnie the Pooh. And then now Lewis's Critter Club is what the shop on the end is, which of course is much more Tiana and Bayou themed merchandise there.
Yeah, if you just think about this like Main Street, right? Like when the park first opened, Main Street was a bunch of separate shops. But over time, they've kind of, because you could go from most of the shops, you can go from one shop to another, and they all connect nicely. So it is kind of that way. This is also one of the cool places up until Galaxy's Edge was constructed. This was one of the few places that had the train bridge that would go over you as well. Because, of course, you have like the entrance, which is one place. But now you've got not only this, but you've got three entrances to Galaxy's Edge that the train goes over.
I forget that you're going under the train because it's not as obvious as the Bayou Country.
Yeah. I love the train going through there, like coming out of the mountain and everything.
They did that really well because it fits thematically, right? Because it's very rustic feeling, the wooden bridge and like being able to see everyone. And I just love being on the train and like looking down and looking into the land, and then also being in the land and looking up and waving at people and folks on the train. Like I just find that so fun. We will not really talk too much about Tiana's invasion and Critter Country becoming Bayou Country, because I feel like we just reported on all of those changes, and that's kind of current day. But as highlights, as you know, Splash Mountain got replaced and rethemed to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which then also brought the name change to Bayou Country from Critter Country, which then resulted in Pooh's Corner is still Pooh's Corner, but the Briar Patch is now themed to Ray's Berets. Then we've got Lewis's Critter Corner as another retail shop that was rethemed with the refresh of the land.
I clicked on Yesterland on the cool Splash Mountain article, and they have a picture here that's super fascinating. That is when they were carving out the space between the Haunted Mansion and Bear Country to put in Splash Mountain. I was trying to figure out what this building was. That is the side of the Haunted Mansion building.
That's wild.
That's crazy. And then there's the tunnel that the train goes through. So
that, it makes sense. So we've had Ken from the Sweep Spot on, and he talks about how, like, as a kid, he was fascinated watching the progress of Splash Mountain come to be built and come to be. And I never we kind of see what they do now. This is wild to be able to see them basically, like you just said, carving out a space in between two areas to kind of get this all tucked in there. I could see how this would have been fascinating to go and check on and see what was going on. Because the other thing too is I feel like I was going to say maybe those walls aren't as high as they used to be because there wasn't as many people trying to peek in there. But I think the walls are as high as they used to be. They're just massive, massive things that they were trying to put in front of it. So your view's blocked when you're down on the sidewalk. But this looks like it was maybe taken from the Mark Twain or something.
Yeah.
To give you a more bird's eye view. Just very, very interesting. This had to have been Very exciting to
1987,
watch.
this photo was taken. That's pretty cool.
And look at this one. Like, this is like the top of the Chickapin Hill and like the mesh.
The wire framing of it.
Yeah, the
all.
wire framing and mesh before they, put all the themed concrete and such on it to create the wood stump of Chickapin Hill. That would have been... Okay, Ken, I get it. I totally get it.
Well, this
All
is kind
making
of like
sense.
all the stuff we're seeing today. Like, if we were to equate this to modern day, this is Avengers Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab. We're seeing a lot of these type of views over an Avengers campus right now. Of course, when the Coco construction starts, we'll be seeing probably some stuff like this because they're not going to be able to cover up the roof of it from the Pixar Pal around. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. So, but yeah, we'll have links for all this in the show notes. As always, if you ever have a chance or bored and want to look up some Disney history stuff, Yesterland is a wonderful mountain of knowledge and photographs.
That's the best part, is all the photos
of everything that's coming around here. In fact, they have a little announcement that they turned 20. When did they turn 25? 18 months ago. Oh, in 2020. So they've been around for a long time on the internet, categorizing and cataloging all this stuff. And they have also things about Yester California Adventure, some Yester Walt Disney World. So basically, if you just want the history and photos of lots of things.
There's even Alani stuff on there.
Yeah, that's so cool. Anyway, lots of stuff you can go check out at Yesterland for. So, yeah, cool journey to a relatively small part of the park that has a ton of history.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've heard us talk about our great experiences staying at the Howard Johnson in Anaheim. Well, we have partnered with them to offer our listeners some really great discounts. Weekly tiers can get 15% off their stay. So to take advantage of this discount, head on over to dlweekly.net and click on the Howard Johnson logo. Otherwise, you can visit our Instagram page, and in our little links there's a link right to the promo website for you too. So if social media is more your thing instead of websites, you can visit and find that promo there.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, Shell. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know, Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Well, welcome back. Glad to see you strolling through Disneyland again. I didn't scare you off too much, apparently.
We've been trying to find those windows still.
It's true. Worth it.
Yeah, you're lucky we came back and weren't just looking for windows.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a while, so... Could have been.
I mean, we were measuring ourselves up against the partner statue. Mm-hmm. We're going to Toontown to look at apostrophes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we were looking for windows.
I gave you a good reason to go around a lot of places in the park. I'm pretty proud of myself.
All right, well, let's see how we did, I suppose.
All right, well, we started off talking about It's a Small World, and I asked you to tell me when the holiday overlay started and made its debut in Disneyland. The correct answer is the correct answer. Take that, 1997.
Ooh, good job, Tag.
Both of you.
You hitched your calendar to my whatever.
Calendar.
I don't know.
Hitched your Small World boat. Singing along to all the songs. It's not just It's a Small World.
World after all.
Tag loves singing on these podcasts. It's true. All right. My second question for you was, how tall is the partner statue? I gave you the hint that it's 7 inches taller than Walt's actual height. Guess what? Teresa didn't need the hint. She got it right away.
What did you say, 6'5"?
6'5".
I was only an inch off with the hint.
It's true. I was shocked when Teresa said it. I'm like, I don't want to give you the hint now because I don't want Teresa to change her answer and I'll feel terrible.
Your spatial awareness of knowing something because you stood next to it. You're like, yep, that's how tall it is.
I'm usually, that's not a thing for me normally. So
because I was going to say, we don't need measuring tapes. We just be like, Teresa, how tall is this?
No, definitely not.
Not how that works?
Not normally, no.
I did enjoy reading a little bit about the partner statue from the artist Blaine Gibson. There's a nice quote about talking about like the posture and everything that he put in there. And he said, I chose to depict Walt as he was in 1954. I think that was when he was in his prime. It was tough trying to match the media image of Walt Disney, the one the public knows, to the real Walt, the one we knew. I think Walt is admiring the park and saying to Mickey, look what we've accomplished together. Because truly, they were very much a team through it all. Look at all the happy people who have come to visit us today.
And this was one of the things on the original Walk with Walt's Footsteps tour that I was like getting all emotional about. And when I had to try to relay this story Every time I relay the story, I get a little misty.
It's just such a beautiful recognition piece.
Yeah.
And great story, great understanding. So love sharing it. But we move on to our third question, where I just wanted to know how many apostrophes are in the correctly stylized version of Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster.
Seems so obvious, right?
It does, but it makes you think.
Now I have a question. Before you looked this up,
Yeah,
did you have a guess of how many you thought there were?
I would have been wrong. So,
Okay.
And I will tell you, I would have been wrong because I would have been Team Teresa and said that there were 2.
But there are 3?
There are 3. The end is
Yeah.
indeed surrounded by apostrophes, and then Dale's has an
Wild.
apostrophe.
I would just like to say that when it comes to trying to be accurate with the way Disney communicates things, that is something that for some reason I have honed in on because, like, for instance, here's another example. When I write in our script or on our website or anything, it's a small world. It is always all lowercase because that is how they do it.
Yep.
And Chip and Dale, I know that the N has it on both sides because I feel like that just sticks out to me for some reason.
It looks good on like the attraction sign and
Yeah.
everything that way. So it's
I've
like it's really
never paid attention.
So you would have thought 2, huh? Because if you were to write that normally, that's what you would
That's
do.
what I would normally do.
Yeah, that's how you would normally write it. Chip and see, look, I wrote it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
podcast
we're
listeners,
wrong.
look at Teresa's notes.
Go look at although I would have gotten the way it's written wrong because
You would not have said gadget is all capitalized?
No. I'm looking at Teresa who has the Wikipedia page open right now. And I feel like whoever wrote this Wikipedia page did not do it right because they put gadget and coaster together, but in the attraction sign, it's clearly gadget, one word, coaster, another word.
I think in the app it's all one word and gadget is all caps. I think that's just how they fit it on the sign.
Oh.
But I could be wrong on that one too. I would have to go and look at that again. I did that very quickly. So
Disney. Anyway, okay.
Yep.
Well, we've pedantic enough about this.
It was so worth it. So excellent. All right. Third question. Fourth question now. You're aware of the windows on Main Street, but thanks to time exploring the Wikipedia page for whatever reason I gave, there are 4 other windows in Disneyland throughout the park. Can you tell me where those are? You gave me correctly 2 of them.
Yeah.
In Frontierland, there is Davy Crockett, Coonskin Cap Supply Company, Fess Parker Proprietor. You can find that
Good
one
job, us.
above the Pioneer Mercantile.
Good job, us.
And the other one you gave me in Adventureland, the Oriental Tattooing by Professor Harper Goff, banjo
job, you.
lessons above the Bazaar. The 2 that you missed, there's another one in Frontierland. Texas Glenn's Honeybee Farm, our bees are real hummers for Glenn Hicks, proprietor, above the Bonanza Outfitters.
And who is this?
Glenn Hicks did not have a clickable link, so I don't know who Glenn Hicks is.
Okay.
Somebody help me, please. But I know the last one, while we do some quick searching as this one's happening. There was indeed one in Mickey's Toontown. Laugh-O-Gram Films Incorporated, A Reel of Fun. W.E. Disney, directing animator.
Walter Elias Disney.
Nailed it. You can find that one above City Hall and the Five and Dime.
Oh. So it's a real person.
So we did talk about Toontown, but we just ruled it out.
You ruled it
But
out.
we were right that there were none in
that's tough, 'cause
Tomorrowland.
it's like,
or
is that an Easter egg or is that a real window, you know?
Right. That's true.
It made it tough. You had to figure those out as they went through it. So that was fun to see. So half credit for both of you for knowing 2 of those. I honestly didn't know if you would know any of those, and I thought it might be a total stumper. So you have impressed me. I should have known that you would know the Harper Goff one. I feel like we've talked about that one previously as well.
Well, Teresa did, in fairness. I did.
Okay. Yep. Well, I think that wraps it up for us in Trivia Land. Thanks for going on my journey as I had fun just looking up random things. Listeners, if you like to look up random things as well and send them our way, we appreciate the ones that have been coming in. We've got a couple this week, so I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're still here in 2 weeks or if producer Vern beats me to them. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But either way, send them in. Let us know. We can ask TNT. Just go to our website, dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
A special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast, Andy Mack for all the wonderful character transitions, and to James D for supporting at the Club 33 level.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.